No peace. No justice. No peace. No justice. No peace.
Welcome to part 2 of the We Need to Talk series. No, this isn't part 2, this is part 3. And I willingly made her come here.
Guys, so she forced me here to talk about these things.
But don't worry, it's 9:30 and we're drinking Irish coffee, so hopefully this gives me enough motivation to finish cleaning my apartment tonight. But anyway, so I've been talking about basically racial issues, racial injustice, things that we can do to help, things that we can do to be better. I wanted to bring my friend on here to come and talk because I feel like as someone who is white that I need to have people who, not people of color, black people come and talk about these things too, because if we are gonna fight these issues, we need everyone on the table, and you don't know what people need unless you
have conversation.
Exactly. And I kept telling her today, like, PLCs, and she said,
I personally would much rather just hear black people than POC when referencing only black people. When you're referencing all encompass of people of color, like I don't even want to start calling out other communities, but you know what people of color look like. When referencing the whole entire group of those people, yes, people of color is fine. But I feel like it gets a little murky waters and just muddied down or watered down when referencing solely the black community as people of color. So I was telling Olivia that when you're just referencing black people, it's okay just to say black people or the black community, like just not the blacks, because that's weird.
Thank you for that public service announcement.
That's my 9 to 5, so that's why she asked that question for anybody that cares out there. But my response to that is like, I mean, what I'm seeing on a day-to-day basis is like, brands, just be authentic. Like, if you're not really about this life, if you're really not about this movement, if you're really not about like making change on the ground, and that's like in all different aspects, right? It's like not just one way that a business or a corporation can make change, right? So if you're not about that life of like social change and really fighting this fight of racial injustice, police brutality, just everything that we know to be true about this country, if you're not really on that page for real, don't do it. Don't talk about it. Don't say it. Because it's just, at this point, it's like we don't need that in this space. We need people that are really ready to take this on, are really ready. Because it's not going to end tomorrow, guys.
Yeah.
PSA. That's a PSA. This is not going to end tomorrow. This is a long fight. So if you're not in it for the long haul, if you think this is just a moment, a PR stunt, something that gets, extra dollars in your pocket, whatever it is, think twice about your intentions on it. Think twice about your authenticity in this space. And just really mull on that before you just come out and just say anything. Because as you guys know, everybody knows, people are not playing with these brands right now. They're not playing with these companies. They are not playing. So if you're going to talk about it, if you're going to be about it, if you're going to be in the space, make sure you show up and do it the right way.
So the last video I talked about, there were a couple things going on. The last video, so George Floyd's, his murder was changed to a 2nd degree. Other people were arrested, put on bail. Since the last video, Breonna Taylor's murders still haven't been arrested. If you didn't hear, the Louisville Police Department put out a police report that was pretty blank. Like, someone had been shot 4 or 5 times, wasn't on the police report. Clearly know that someone's hiding something and someone's getting fired. Simply put, you can't put out a police report on this magnitude and know that people are expecting answers and not have anything to show for it. The Minnesota just got rid of the city of Minneapolis. Got rid of their police department. A lot of people are trying to disembar the police, and defund the police. And people think defunding the police is ending the police department. It's not ending the police department. It's asking, what roles are we asking police to do? Are they trained to do those certain roles? And if not, we need to get other people in. Because
and the policies, right?
Yeah.
In order to like, and this is specifically around police brutality, guys. Like, this is one small, like, it's not small, but one piece to the puzzle, right?
Yeah.
So as far as police brutality, as far as that, it's like, it's a policy change, right? Like, it's some of these institutionalized policies that just really make no sense, like this chokehold policy. Like, what is that? Like, you know, like, what are the steps of like de-escalation, if they even have that? Is that a regulation? So it's like, we know some of these policies need to change, and I think that defunding them is a way to like draw the line in the sand, like, hey, you're not gonna make any money until you figure out what policies need to be changed and things like that. I will be first to say, and I will be honest with you guys, this past week, I have not been as heavily tuned into the news and what's been going on, just because I needed a mental break. Like I said, I work in social. I work for these big brands. So this has become more than just like what I'm experiencing on my day-to-day. This has been what I'm experiencing on my day-to-day and at work and just all aspects of my life. So I've had to remove myself from social just for a couple of days, and just even the news at this point.
Well,
just to,
now you're going to find out some things that have been going on.
Yeah, I'm learning right now with you guys. We're learning
together.
So
New York State just repealed the 50A Act, and basically what the 50A Act did is it made it so that if a cop like had any misconduct, if a cop had been killed someone, basically all the records of the police have been hidden. So if you're in New York and you're a cop and you are like reported on, have multiple counts of misconduct, if you end up like putting someone in a chokehold and they died, basically what it did is it protected the cops, so there really wasn't transparency with like if you have a bad cop and they're in New York and they get put on administrative leave and then they go to Florida and decide to become a cop down in Florida, well, now Florida doesn't have any access to knowing what the cops did in New York.
Okay.
I said Minneapolis has disbanded its police department. There's a couple of other places that are following suit, and they're pushing also to get cops out of schools. Now, I think there are certain school districts where you still need to have a cop presence. You need to have police. Like my high school in upstate New York had like I don't know if it was a state trooper or a cop in there, but the thing
my high school was overly policed. Is
you're putting cops in schools that need more. They need guidance counselors. They need social workers. They need to have like therapists on school, and you're putting police in these school districts without putting people in any of those roles. And we know how much like mental health plays in kids' development. We know that you have kids in urban areas growing up in not great homes, and you should be making sure that like we're giving kids the resources that they need in their schools
and not
to
feel
set up
policed,
for success. And it's not even
nobody
a
wants
thing.
to feel policed trying to get an education, right? Like I think that's very weird. And it was all like I said, I grew up in inner city, went to inner city schools, and it was heavily policed. Even my middle school had police officers. Like, what? These are like 4th and 5th graders. like why? Like, but that was normal for us to see that on a day-to-day. But why? Like when Olivia said they only had a state trooper in the school, we had like multiple police, security. Like it was very heavily police, and it's also like what kids shouldn't see that, right? Like I mean, obviously, like when situations occur, we definitely want to de-escalate and get the proper protocols, all that stuff. But like on a day-to-day, it's like, why do we need to see police officers in the hallways more than we see teachers? And to
I
your
think
point,
part of it
counselors.
too, the LA Police Department, I think they cut, don't quote me, and I'm sorry if I'm giving wrong numbers. I'm just trying to give the numbers like
fact check
me. You can write down like the exact amount, but to my understanding, I want to say that I think the LA Police Department, I think their budget was like $1.2 billion. So they said, we're gonna still give you the $1 billion, but the other 200 million and some change, or 150 million and some change, they're like, we're gonna take this and we're gonna invest it into the urban and in the
I think I did see
the communities of need. And it's not about like disbanding things. It's about saying, okay, what are we spending? what realistically should we be spending money on? I was talking to her earlier today on how, with this whole coronavirus, how I was listening to a podcast that my friend Ev edited. I will put the link in the podcast here below, but they were talking about the effects that the coronavirus is having on black community. 22% of like white owned businesses had been affected by COVID versus the 40% of black owned businesses. And the thing is like, if you are a black business owner and you are in like a low income area, or you're not in as affluent of an area, your business is going to get hit so much harder than even some of the black owned businesses that are in more affluent areas, just because you don't have that money piling in.
I think that's like a misconception, right? I mean, definitely location plays a factor, but I think moreover, like, I feel like, I mean, obviously we know the disparity, the financial disparity in the black community and all other communities, right? Like, we know that this is something that's been proven, right? Or, like, we're not on the same playing field in a lot of ways, financially speaking. So I think that a lot of it comes from, like, the funding of these small businesses.
Yeah.
Like, black-owned businesses, a lot of times have to take out loans, get smaller loans when they are, like, in comparison to, like, white-owned or non-black-owned businesses, the amount of money that they're even approved for is like probably a fraction of that, you know, and things like that. So it's like, even the way in which your business is like set up, or like how their business is funded and things like that, is already at a deficit to the non-black counterpart. So I feel like it's already puts us in a tough situation. So when the pandemic happened, a lot of non-black owned business had other resources. Like, obviously they were getting the small business loans very, very quickly, and like some needed it, some didn't need it.
Yeah.
But I think that ultimately, like, we know that you know, the black owned business would probably take a bigger hit, just because they don't have the financial backing, strong backings of these financial institutions or investors or whatever it may have you.
And I feel like that's going to be coming up in the next couple of years. That's going to be like one of the biggest factors and things that they're going to, basically, I think people who get voted into office, that's going to be kind of the number one thing, is putting money into the lower income communities and putting them into the schools, because
like, for me, it's like, and I don't mean to cut you off, but like, yes, fund these communities and things like that, but for me, it's like, let's address why these lower income communities that we talk about are black people, and like are predominantly black people. Like, why is that? Like, why? Then that goes back to that financial deficit. Like, why are we so much more, like, when it comes to class, like, it's a whole different, like, it's an economic situation, like, right? Like,
and a lot of
social economic situation, like, why are, like, you know, we can funnel money into the inner cities. They've been trying to do that for years. Since I was in inner city schools, they still don't get any funding. They don't get any money. We know that.
And I feel like that's the thing, is like, people, but the thing is one, we have tax systems where like the rich get richer and the poor get poor. Just like from an overall economic standpoint, what happens is you have like they're not, as far as like poverty levels though, they're not giving people who are like at or below poverty a fair or playing chance with the resources that they're giving them to start off with. And then you have the fact that you have a lot of these communities that are already broken. So what happens is you have these kids who go to school, they're in failing school systems. They then end up going to other alternatives or going to gangs because people don't want to give them a chance. People are being prejudiced towards them. You then have teenage girls getting pregnant in these systems because no one wants, they're on welfare, and this is like white and black people too. Like, but I'm gonna be straight.
The thing for me is like, I just think that because of the socioeconomic difference, that we see in Teen Mom, we see that white kids, you know, get pregnant just as much as like, you know, young white kids get pregnant. Like, baby boom is a thing, right? Like, but I think the deficit that we see is that, like, to your point, like the broken homes and things like that. But this is all institutionalized. Like, all of this is institutionalized. These broken homes in the Black community. For all of you guys know, like, what slavery did to our homes and what it constantly did. It continuously up into, like, in the 60s, they were ripping black men out of their home, going to lynch and kill them. But what did that do? Leave a whole family without a father or a grandfather. You know, things like that. So we know the families are broken. We know that. And we got to keep going back to slavery because it is what it is. But we know that once slavery ended, Black people were given nothing. Like, I think it was a viral video by an author of a famous author. I can't think of her name at this moment, but she was able to, and maybe we can link that at the bottom. But she was able to articulate using the reference of Monopoly how. For over 400 years, we were just given an unfair it was an unfair advantage for whites and non-Blacks because they were given land, they were given property, all this stuff they were building all that stuff. When we got free, we got none of that. We had to keep helping them build their stuff. We were sharecroppers and things like that. So I think it's just been so long of a deficit.
Yeah. Well, Abraham Lincoln, when he emancipated slaves, was like, you have to give people land, you have to give people cattle. And then the next president who came in,
Lincoln,
Johnson came after Lincoln, and Johnson basically like undid what Abraham Lincoln did, where he was like, no, you don't have to give them stuff anymore, because Abraham Lincoln knew, like, you have to give people collateral. And one of my friends just posted a link too, if I can find it, on how, like, Great Britain so when the slaves became free in Great Britain, they gave them reparations, and they'd been paying, I think, reparations, to, like, either it was like 2010 or 2013. So people were still paying back, like, the reparations, like, to their family members or whatever who, like, were slave owners. But I feel like another thing too is we've put in our country, like, these economic systems in place which are a disadvantage to the minority communities. But you want to end things on a positive note, so
so I wanted to, we can go for days on this topic, and we might come back with another part with me when I'm a little bit more prepared, because guys, she definitely came out of left field with this one. But
love you, appreciate you.
But okay, I did want to end on, like, a note of, like, how we can push the needle just as, like, Asia and Olivia, right? Like, I think that it's so easy to get wrapped up in how big of an issue this is and things like that. It takes it kind of becomes a little discouraging or paralyzing to figure out, like, how do we take immediate steps, or, like, how do we play a part in this and a role in this. And I just wanted to say, like, you know, everybody has their own role to play. Like, everybody's not going to be the activist or whatever it is. Whatever space you can take with your platform, or with whatever, just in whatever space you occupy, that is fine, and you're doing fine. If you feel like you're making whatever change, whether it's having conversations, whether it's opening up that purse, whether it's going to the protest, whether it's being in these rooms with these brands and telling them to get their together, but in whatever space that is, like, just understand, like, it's okay to do what you're doing. You don't have to be a superhero. You don't have to do it all. You don't have to feel like you're not doing enough just because you're only doing this. It's okay. This is going to be a long-standing thing, right? Like, it's not a race. It's a marathon. So we need you guys. We need everybody to keep their mental health, to stay sane, to stay safe, and just, like, let's just keep this going. Let's not let our foot up off the gas. Like, let's keep going. Let's stay positive. Let's keep encouraging others around us. Like, we can keep doing this and we can keep going. And so whenever you see somebody, the next time you talk to somebody or something like that, like, just be like, you know, I know we haven't talked, or whatever that conversation may start, but just remind them, like, you know, I appreciate whatever you're doing if they're doing something. But whatever it is that you see them doing, if it's not even like the stereotypical activism work, just, like, kind of acknowledge that. You know, I feel like everybody deserves, like, a little acknowledgement for, even if they just, you know, are just trying to figure it out. Some people just don't even know what's going on right now and just trying to figure it out. And it's like, I see you. You're seen, you're heard. I'm with you. We are with you.
Yes.
We are doing everything that we can with what we have. We're not superheroes. We're not asking anybody to be a superhero. It's not going to be one person that's going to change this. But it's going to be communities together that have to change this.
Having conversations, and most importantly,
Tell your
As
friends
Rihanna
to pull
says.
up. And Jesus loves you.
Yes, he does.
And we love you. And tune in next week or whenever.
Importantly, peace, love, and blessings, y'all.
Blessings.
Remember that you got this.
You got this.